Hello friends, welcome to your only channel, Times of Coding. Today in our Scala Express series, we will learn how to define literals and its usage while writing business logic. In our previous session, we have learned how to define Scala singleton object. In this session, we are going to focus on Scala literal types, which is numbers, character, string, and Boolean. Now moving on to Scala literals, since we have covered in our last session Scala classes and singleton object, I believe it's a good time to know Scala basics types. So if you are a Java developer already, you will find yourself with the similar types here in Scala as well. So let's have a quick glance on the basic type which Scala gives us. Here we are having list of value types and then we are having its range. The range is exactly same as Java because it has been referenced from Java. It has bytes value, which is minus 128 to plus 127. It has short value, which is 16-bit. It has long, likewise, as same as Java. Boolean with two literals. And a string, a sequence of characters, just like similar to Java. First, we will see integer literals, which has int, long, short, and byte. And these comes with three form of decimal, hexadecimal. So if the number begin with 0x or OX, it is a hexadecimal which has base 16. So this is how we define hexadecimal numbers in Scala. We will define a variable hexa1 is equal to OX8. So here after execution, it will give us the 8 value. Now we will define in this way OOFE. So it will give us this value, and now we will define hexa3 variable, and this will give us the minus this value, and this value will get inside to integer limit. One important thing to remember in Scala shell always print integer values with base 10 form. So if the numbers begin with non-zero digit, it's normal base 10 form. So if you define number like dec1 and 31, our Scala interpreter will give us value called 31 here. Then 310, similarly 3110, likewise. If an integer literal ends with L or a small letter L, it is a long type, otherwise it's int. So here we have already seen how to define the integer type, the int type. Now we will see how to define the long type. So in order to define the long literals, first we need to define the variable, whatever name you can pick, and then is equal to 120, and this number will end with L. So here, once you execute this command, once you execute this statement, your Scala will define long type of variable long 1, 2, and 3 likewise, and it will store your values, which is 120, 1200, and 12,120. So moving on, if in case we define integer value, the int value, and we have assigned to short or byte variable type, it will be treated as short and byte respectively till its value fall under the defined range of Scala, which we have seen above. So let's say if we are defining shorter here, this is a variable name which has short type is equal to 367. Since this value comes in defined range of short, Scala will define likewise. And next we are defining bytes value. So bytes is a variable name, byte is a type, and then 38 value we are storing in it. So Scala is defining likewise. Since we are not reaching the limit of defined range for these literal types, I think Scala has no issues with our definition. Moving on, in case we need to define the floating points or the decimal literals with floating point literals, and they optionally contains decimal point and optionally can followed by E or small letter e for exponential purpose. Like here if you see, we are defining one variable called big is equal to 1.2345. Now if you see here, Scala has defined this big as double and it has kept this value as we asked to store. Now we are defining with the help of exponent, and here we are defining exponent 1. Our decimal has been shifted one digit and its defined value is 12.345. So here we are defining capital letter E, and here our decimal will replaced by 2 digit further and it will get defined as 1.23E47. So in this case, we took an example of 1.2345 E1. So the value will be 1.245 here, and it will be times 10 to the power 1 because we have given exponential 1. So it will be 10 to the power 1 multiplied by this value. So if you compute this value, it will become 12.345, which we have received here. Moving on to floating point literals, which ends with f or small f, it will get defined as float. Otherwise, it will treat it as double. How to define the float? We will see in this example. We have defined a variable called float1 is equal to 1.235f, and here our Scala defined as float type. Now the same we can do with a small f as well, and Scala will defined as float. Now in order to define the double type, we can use the the exponent, and we can define with capital D or d small d as suffix with this value. So here we have defined in both ways the double variable. Now we will see the character literal. They are composed of any Unicode character between wrapped around single quotes. So here we are defining one character called Z. Here we are defining in a single quotes the Z caps, and here our Scala is defined as variable Z type of character is equal to Z value we have stored in it. So this is how we define the character literals. Now moving on, we have got some few special character literals which has their specific mean. Like if you see /n, this is for line feed or new line you can call. /p, this is for backspaces. /t, this is for tab, and so on. So to write above a special literal, we need to wrap around single quotes, just like the way we have wrapped this character here. Once you wrap this special literal, your statement will become like this: backslash is equal to single quotes / single quote. Scala will define like character is equal to backslash as value. So moving on, string literal, we can compose all characters in double quotes. Like here we are defining one example called welcome, and in this welcome we are storing a value called times of coding, and here our Scala is creating this variable called welcome, which is string type here, and the value we have stored is times of coding. In order to write multiple string value here in one variable, we need to define our value. We need to wrap our value with 3 double quotes. This is how we define the multi-line character, and for trim purpose I am utilizing this pipe here, so it will get aligned into the same format. It should not have any extra spaces in second line start, and we are stripping the margin. So if there are any extra spaces, it will strip the margin by default. So here in Scala Express we are defining welcome to times of coding channel. We are watching Scala Express series, and the same Scala will define for us in this variable. Now moving on to our next and last but not the least literal type, Boolean, which has 2 fixed literal just like any another language. So here we are defining switch on variable which will have value called true, and then we are having another variable switch off and which has value called false. Now if you see here, Scala defined switch on for us type of Boolean, and it has value called true. Now with this similar fashion, we have defined switch off which has Boolean type again, and the value is false. Right now we have covered everything in theory. Now let's do some practical. So to do practical, we will first start the IntelliJ. To start IntelliJ, I will search in my search pan here. I'll double click it. Now IntelliJ is starting here. Please make sure the version of IntelliJ which we are using is 2020.1. In order to create new project, we need to click here, and it will give us window with these options. We will click on next with SBT and Scala. Now we will define our literals, project name today, and finish. Now this is the first window we will get after creation of our project. So we need to click, we'll close the tip. We need to click on literal project link here, go inside the src Scala, right click on this Scala. We'll mark this directory as source root. We'll wait till this literal gets synced with its library. Now syncing between libraries has been done. Literals project is ready to serve us. So we will right click here. We will add framework support. We will add framework support called Scala here. Once we add framework support, you will get Scala options. So yesterday we have created Scala classes and objects. Today we will work with Scala worksheets. So here I'll give example literals we are going to see today, and I'll click on OK. Once you click on OK, you will get some window like this, and now we are all set to do the coding. So the first thing which we have discussed about the hexadecimal variable type. So we will write the same, and to run this worksheet we will click here on this green play button. It will take some time because this is the first time we are loading these values. So here we have defined variable called hexa 1, 2 and 3, and the values we have assigned, it is starting from O, X, 8 and O, X, OOFE, and this is the outcome we are getting here. So moving on, we will see how to define the decimal or the int type value now. So we have defined one deck 1, 2 and 3, and here we are storing 31, 310 and 3110 value. Now we will again run with the same button and it will give us the value here. It has defined, Scala has defined this deck 1 as int type and it has stored 31 value in it. So moving on, we will define the long type of literals now. So here we are defining long type of literals. I have given variable called long1, long2 and long3 named, and here our value which we are assigning in these variables, it is having suffix called capital L. Now we will run and Scala is defining these variables for us and it is storing 120, 1200 and likewise value. So moving on, we will assign int type of value in short and in byte type of variables, and we will see how Scala create the variable for us. So since we have assigned this int type of value in short type of variable and there 38 int type of value, byte type of variable, Scala will create the exact byte and short type of variable with name shorter and bytes which we have given to them. And this is what the outcome we are getting, 367 and 38, exactly what we have defined in it. So moving on, we have talked about character literals. Now it's time to define them. To define character literals, we need to wrap this literal with single quotes and we are creating one variable called Z. And Scala is treating the same way. It is defining this Z variable and character type and the value of this variable is Z. Now we will see how Scala treats their special character. So in order to define a special character, we need to wrap with the same single quotes and we are defining one backslash here. But in order to define one backslash in our variable, we need to keep one additional backslash as per the contract of Scala. And now Scala creates a variable called backslash. It is a type of character and it stores a value of backslash now. After this type, we have talked about a string. So now it's time to define the string. Here I'm defining welcome variable. I'm storing times of coding value. And I'll run now. And Scala is creating the same variable welcome string type and the value is times of coding. Now we will see how to store multi-line strings value in one variable. So here I'm defining multi-line string value. So what you need to do is you need to define one variable called Scala Express. And when you type 3 times double quotes here and when you press enter, it will automatically give you option like this. I have defined value welcome to times of coding channel. We are watching Scala Express series now. Let's see how Scala treats them. So Scala has defined us multi-line string value in this Scala Express variable and it has type of a string and it has value with multiple lines. Here is the first line and here is the second line. Now the last but not the least, we are defining Boolean type. So Boolean, we are having one switch on variable and we are assigning true, and we are having one variable called switch off and we are assigning false. Now let's see how Scala treats them. Scala is defining these variables as Boolean and it is assigning the value true and false, likewise which we have defined. So today we have covered how Scala gives us literals and its option to define them and to utilize them while defining our business logic in Scala programming language. I hope you liked my content today. If you wanted to get the notification of my upcoming videos, you can subscribe my channel and you can press the bell icon so that you will get notified for my upcoming videos. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.